turn on then.
Let me just double check that it's recording. We're live.
All right. Call the May 18th meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission to order. Let the roll call show that Barbara, Annie, and Chris Major are in attendance. Colleen and Alex are absent as of 6 o'clock. If present commissioners could take a look at the agenda, and if there are any changes or inclusions you'd like to make to the agenda, propose that now, or entertain a motion to accept the agenda as written.
Am I seconding something?
Shall I go? Okay. I move that we accept the agenda as written.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
Awesome. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 None opposed? Passes unanimously.
Okay.
So the next order on the agenda is the approval of our April minutes. So if you need to take a minute to review those.
I just quickly glanced at it. I'll look at Barbara's afterward. Is there any printed out?
Yes.
I should have, I meant to, but I'm worried about my name.
I do this thing. I try not to print copies if we don't need them, but I like to have an extra.
Okay, so we're looking at the minutes from April. Shireen is misspelled on the second page. It's in 6A staff report. It's S-H-I-R-E-N-E should be. Oh, there's just an extra E, okay.
I think I remember catching that
Okay.
after I'd already printed all these out. Shoot.
That's good.
As she came in to drop off some stuff for the farmer's market, and I was
Just
looking at it, and I said,
coincidental.
darn it.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I think we've all spelled it multiple ways. So.
Yes.
Yes.
So with that already taken care of, I move that we accept the April 20th minutes as written.
I second it.
All right. All in favor of accepting the April minutes, say aye. Any opposed? No, because it's unanimous. So we'll move on then to our discussion items for this evening. So the first item of discussion is an update on the student intern / volunteer.
So we did hear back from Brian about having a possible youth board member, I think was our next suggestion. He said that it is possible to do that, but it would require the city code to be amended at city council, and we would also need to factor in amending our budget to fund the position as well. He said that he's not sure that that's going to be a good option either, but it is an option.
So did he say why the budget needed to be funded, or why the position needed to be funded, if this was a volunteer opportunity as opposed to a paid position?
Yeah, at our last meeting, he said that there is a lot of red tape that goes along with having somebody that's an intern or a volunteer doing work of a paid board member when they're not paid.
Oh, I get it, so our monthly stipend.
Yes,
payment.
yes.
Okay.
I know.
I was just trying to think,
You're
well,
like
what
getting
other
paid.
payment?
Yes,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay.
But yes, that's what he was referring to. So he seems to strongly advise against it, but he said it's still an option.
All right, so open it to discussion with the rest of the commissioners. Is this something we want to pursue? Do we feel strongly enough that would take us through amending the code and adding budget? Or do we find other ways that we can reach out to the high school to be participating in the activities that we have without formalizing it?
Maybe that's our best option if we have some legal problems or financial issues otherwise.
And also, there's nothing stopping anyone from coming to our meetings as the public, member of the public. So if someone is that interested, perhaps they could just show up, or come to a meeting, and it is a volunteer option to just maybe suggest something or write something for us, or kind of leave it up to the individual. But I agree that maybe we should just look at other options.
I did reach out to West Valley for one of the positions that we're hiring for that allows for 16-year-olds. And I actually reached out to their business department, and they are advertising it in the business department to try to get somebody to be hired on to work the kiddie pool. So maybe reaching out to the history department and just seeing if the teachers have any suggestions on how to get kids to come to the meetings.
That's great.
Yeah. And then knowing where we're at with the school year being almost over in 3 to 4 weeks, it's something that we can circle back to maybe August. And then when school gets started, how to reach out to teachers, or even the teacher that's working with the students that are doing the mural artwork. You know, would there be something through her class that might be appealing to those students to become more involved in helping us with maybe projects that we can identify, a project that we think a youth could do for us. I mean, I know we came up with a list, so if we had someone on the commission on a monthly basis, they could be working on this all the time, but maybe we need to rethink that and come up with just a task that a high school student might benefit from doing, adding it to their portfolio to get credit for, as opposed to trying to have them on the commission. So those of you with better memories than me, try to remind me, and maybe August, we can put it back on the agenda to.
Yeah, I can just add that on
Okay.
when I do the
Yeah.
updates tomorrow. And I'll just throw it on in August so that we don't have to worry about forgetting.
Yeah.
But we asked, and now we know, so that's good information, and I do appreciate his thoughtfulness and recommendation. All right, next item of business are the trail signs. So I know that there's signs in our packet. Are those the ones that we've already looked over, or?
Yes.
There's
Well,
some-
those are the ones that were approved so far. There was talk about wanting to add the QR codes to them. They weren't added to these ones. Christina wanted me to put together a comparison between the original suggested trail signs and what the edited ones looked like, what information was missing from that transition. It really wasn't a lot. And so she didn't feel like there was enough information to necessitate a QR code.
One thought that's been mentioned is that some of the information was deleted, that was edited out. Like on the Woodard family, the highlighted areas, it looks like that a lot of that's been edited out. Well, the QR codes could have the original signs, or the original verbiage, at any rate.
Yeah, so I highlighted yellow,
Oh, you-
what did not make it onto. So the one on the left, if you look at the signs up here, the one on the left is the original suggested sign. I apologize that they're crooked. I did this quickly. The one on the left is the original design that was given to us. The one on the right is the edited design that went into production. The highlighted yellow stuff is what I saw to be information that was missing from the edited sign. So on this one, you've got that blurb there. The Woodard family did have a bit, especially on the electric train,
Right.
that didn't make it onto, but I think this was the only one that had a significant amount of information that was missing.
I know because I worked on this one.
Okay.
Who undertook made the decision to what to remove? Because I mean, I'm all for revision, but it's a little galling. Then as many times as we went through these signs and as much as we worked on them for years, and then have somebody from the sign company come in and tell us what we can have on our signs. And I'm not saying I don't like them, I'm just saying, who had the authority to do that? I'm curious.
My understanding, and we'll have to probably double check this with Christina, but my understanding from her was that the sign company took the original sign designs and then suggested to her that some of the stuff didn't aesthetically fit on there very well. This one, I think specifically, they wanted to have more pictures and then to have some of the wording a little bit more spaced out. Adding the 2 columns, I know, posed a little bit of a challenge to fitting the pictures and all of the text in there.
Yeah, the columns are not something that I would have been able to do, so I understand that. What's the one up there, the dark picture? It doesn't really come through.
I can zoom in.
Is that a railway map?
Yeah, it looks like almost a Sanborn fire map of the area.
See if I can read it a little bit better on this one.
Oh, is that the original Woodard property?
It's impossible to tell.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea, I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. It's a bit hard to tell with how small these are printed out
Yeah.
and
Well, even up
dark.
there. Well, let's see.
Oh, it says 10th Street, Spokane.
Coeur d'Alene, something, International Railway,
So that was the electric train?
but 10th Street, we don't have a 10th Street in Millwood.
So it says the Coeur d'Alene and Spokane Railway began service in 1903, so that must be what that is the original route for that passenger.
That
Train?
would be good to explain.
Yeah.
In a QR code.
And if we
connection.
can't read it and understand it this size,
Yes.
it just looks like a lost piece of space there that,
Well, we did have it printed off last month in the big, and so I think when we were looking at it, we saw it fine. And so I think it's just probably in the format,
But also
Yeah,
we're
they-
looking at the grammar
more
part
text too,
yeah.
but.
So, I
Well,
don't
and
know
these
whether
are, so
that-
these are in production
Yeah, too
with
late.
our
It is
edits.
too late.
Yeah, they're
So
in
they're-
production.
So they're not going to have QR codes?
Correct.
Wow.
that's too bad.
Because we've seen the whole process of them, and it's like, oh, that's disappointing, but I mean, on the other hand, the presentation is nice, I kind of like it, but just wondering about the process.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure who made the ultimate decision to edit out and what. And this is the one slide that they actually removed quite a bit and then also added quite a bit that wasn't in there. I mean, this one, mostly pictures were taken out, but all of the text remained.
Well, this one really bothers me. If we could go back to that historic district. The upper left, the black, I guess it's streets. It
Yeah.
just is not something you're drawn to look at. Whereas on the original actually had the shadows of the houses that live on each of those lots, which were more recognizable to people. And of course, more information. This one, and then the lower right is just a blank chart too. I mean, it doesn't raise a question mark, well, what's that? And it doesn't, it just doesn't draw you to it to find, to find any meaning from that. But these are in production, so this is what it is.
Right, and even though we were looking at text last month, I think that was also our opportunity to just make comments.
Yeah,
And
I
so,
only saw the one,
yeah,
um,
so to
what about
fairness.
the paper mill and the Indian history, are they in production? yet?
No, so just these ones that are in here. We've got the City of Millwood, Woodard Family Historic District. The West Valley one still needs to be reviewed by West Valley, so this one is not in production.
Okay, good.
But it's ready to go as long as they approve it.
Yeah, and this one too, I see the original as being more informative than the modified.
Another part of it too is to make them cohesive, so to make it look like all of the signs were actually done by the same person. So if you look at the formatting on this one versus this one and this one, they all look very different.
The headings and
And that's okay.
I think that was the purpose of having the two columns, was to try to get more information on there, but to also make them all look similar.
yeah, I like the headings. I think they're consistent.
And I'd
So are
also,
these gonna be, is the background gonna be white on these signs, do you know?
I
Or
don't.
is it brown or tan or bronze or?
I do not know.
Okay.
Let's see.
You can see the bolt holes on there, so that's, those are good.
And then this is the history of Millwood.
but even though there are no QR codes directing them to the website, that could even be an addition, that, you've got them on the container or the frame, and if we felt strongly that we wanted to direct them to more information, we could just add a little post with a QR code on it that says learn more. That would take them to,
On one of the posts.
on a post next to the sign,
Right.
or along the trail, learn more. So if we feel strongly that there's missing information, that we want to direct people back to the website to learn more, I think adding just a sign with a QR code along the trail could still
Well,
accomplish that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay.
That might be a better option too, to make the site or make the information and then create the QR code to direct people to it.
Yeah.
I think that was her worry, was putting the QR codes on the signs, and then is it going to take us 6 months or a year or 2 years to put together that information?
Well, we could just use the older signs, but now it's like, well, then we don't have to worry about that, so that's one less thing to worry that we consumed about. And I'm kind of excited about them finally being done and in place. So these are in production, so how long before they're actually on the trail, do you know?
I don't. My understanding is that it's going to take a couple weeks for them to get made, and then, delivery time, installation. I don't imagine it'll take too long, but they are going to take a little longer too, because we paid for the anti-graffiti protection on them as well. So that's a pretty high traffic area. I think that was a good option.
Right, so this one will be, so where will this one be located? Let's see, can we just go back through just since we have a minute? Let's see.
this one gonna be right up at the corner here of Argonne and the
So
trail?
City of Millwood,
I think this one's gonna be by the water tower.
okay. Woodard family, probably over there, somewhere, or,
It's gotta be along
it's gotta be on the trail.
Yeah, we were gonna have the
So-
Indians and the paper mill kind of close to each other.
Right. Also, that I heard the tribe needed to approve changes, is that in process?
I do not know.
Yeah, I know that was the mayor's recommendation, that any change that we made to what Bobby had approved of, had them approve. So if there was any deletions or additions, or even probably reformat,
Correct.
we'd need to have them approve it again.
And they had approved it already, and
Correct.
then any changes now that, you know, the creators didn't have access to, that should go back to the tribe, that was our understanding, yeah.
Yeah, I imagine it will, but I'll follow up with Christine on that to make sure it's getting done.
And then West Valley High School, that will go,
Yeah, there's a sign
Like the first
way.
oh, sorry, there already is one, you're right.
So I think there are, the sign
Locations, yeah.
already there.
Yeah.
I mean, you can
All of them?
walk the trail and you can see.
Yeah, and they're all just, they're
Okay.
just blank.
Yes.
It's just which sign goes to which one.
Well, I'm understanding these changes, I just think the historic district does not look inviting at all. Two essentially blank spaces of little information.
Well, the point was to convey information, and it conveyed information, but I'm not sure what, what it was. Maybe there's some way to follow up. I think this should be our candidate for the first QR code if we have one on a post, just to say, you know, identify the houses in detail or whatever. I think that would be kind of fun, actually.
Yeah, there's a walking tour of the historic district too, isn't there? So that could be copied, digitized, something, and that could, where the QR code could point to, is to learn more, maybe have the information that's here on this sign, but then also the walking tour, discover it yourself kind of thing.
That's a good idea. We know who to go to for that information.
Okay.
That's really good, Denise. That was a lot of work to get that together.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to see it starting to happen now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always been to be revision. It's just, you know, when you're invested in something and then someone else comes along, and although a lot of them are, I gotta say, I would be impressed. If I didn't know the history of the trail signs, I would be like, that's really cool. That's so nice they have these in Millwood. It shows interest and engagement and preservation, and it's a positive thing overall. So try to look at the glass half full, I guess.
Well, that's good, I came loaded for bear.
Yeah.
Well, and there's nothing to say that whatever we put up on the website, we still can't edit,
Right.
correct grammar, add different layers to it. But that will take scheduling, probably a work session and a special meeting, and having the content ready to go. So it's something, yeah, we can easily do, and I'd encourage us to do that. But just knowing that we'll probably have to set aside time to do that and just focus on it. But worth it,
Yes.
Yeah.
for sure.
Denise, how do you spell your name? MC, is that capital L?
It's actually a lowercase
It is a
L.
lowercase L?
I know.
Okay, good. I was just curious, my nitpicky way.
We were originally the McLeans, so it had the MC, capital C, Lainne.
Plain, okay.
So, and then when my husband's ancestors traveled over here, they shortened it pretty significantly.
Yeah, there's someone at the Ellis Island. sort
That's kind of what we're
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah. No, that can't be your name anymore.
All right, any other comments about the signage or the content? And forgive me if Barbara already asked this, but the time frame on the next group of signs?
We should
to
have
review,
those, I believe, at the next meeting
So that we can review it.
to review those. And I'm
Okay.
probably going to do the same thing and just kind of, we can compare and contrast the original design with the new one before we send it into production, just so that we can look and see what changes were made a little bit easier.
All right. No other discussion. We can move on to the next item. The agenda would be the Millwood Farmers Market. And so the market starts the end of this month, right? Or-
31st.
Yeah,
31st.
31st.
So the question I had, did we want to have a table at our June meeting would be the Wednesday of the farmer's market, or do we want to wait till July? Or how many farmers markets do we want to have a presence at? And when did you want to start?
I will say I did talk to Jessica with the farmer's market today, and she was hopeful that you guys would want to attend the All Things Millwood farmer's market on July 19th. I mean, you can come to any of them, she said, but she said that's one specifically she was really hoping to get a lot of local businesses and people from, Planning Commission, Council, Historic Preservation there.
Okay, so I'm just going to throw this out there, see what people think, but I think we should be there June, July, August, September, because there is a lot of interest in historic preservation in our commission. There are people who wonder, well, whatever happened? Don't we have a CLG? And, what happened with that? And so I had the opportunity recently to say, yes, we have a CLG and we have a Historic Preservation Commission, and we meet the third Thursday of every month, and why don't you come? And I think being in the park, when there's so many people who go through there, I think that would be a really positive thing. So I know it's I don't want to be the one who's there for 6 hours for four or five times, but I really think we should show up. I think it would be very, very positive. And we could have some kind of swag, we could have something. Are you giving me a dirty look?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I'm not good, don't volunteer. So I think having some information, like just, I don't know, anything historic, people really eat it up. So, and there is a strong interest, but strong but kind of passive, like people don't know what to do or where to go. So if we actually have our meetings there, I think that would be, or in lieu of a meeting. We could still do some business while we're there.
Correct. We just have to, again, post it that it is the meeting and it's been changed from Thursday to Wednesday and
Right.
all of that. But, so I'm not opposed, but yeah, 3 to 7, I'm still working,
Right.
and I wouldn't be able to get there until 4:30 or 5.
Right.
So I would think at least June or July, and then maybe we play it by ear if we do it August
Sure.
and September.
I can't promise my attendance with MS. He doesn't
No.
work well with that.
Well, there was a day that was 104 under the tent, and it was last summer. And it looks like we're headed that way again, unfortunately. So, but they actually canceled the farmer's market when it got too bad, I believe. Wasn't there one that was
It
canceled?
seems like there was.
Yeah, there was just 106 or so. So in a perfect world of 75 degrees, it would be good to be there and have the presence there. It's a good idea. I don't know how possible it is. I could be there at 3 for a little while, 3 to 5, and then, maybe someone else could.
Right, I
be
could
there.
do the 5 to 7, but then maybe we schedule that we overlap so that we can manage business.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that would be good.
Yeah.
So,
So the 5 o'clock hour, we do our business.
That'd be good.
So it's 3 to 7 is the market.
having been there, was a substitute for someone who had a business there. And it was very edifying about how many people come, how engaged people are, how interested in really everything, and the variety of businesses that are there. So I'm all for it, but like I said, we can work it out. Let's just try 2 and then see how it goes.
So at the June meeting at the farmer's market, we'll look at the last 2 signs and have our meeting. The last 2 trail signs.
Last 2?
Yeah, the Indian and the paper mill.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there's a third one, there's
Aren't
the,
there, yeah.
yeah, the, what was that district called?
Don't know. So that would be,
That, we would do the 3rd?
so that would be
Week.
the 15th, but it would actually be the 14th, or would it be the 21st? The 3rd Thursday is the 15th, that would be a regular meeting.
So, and I've got something on the 14th, that Wednesday. So I wouldn't be able to make that week, but that's, if we're changing our regular meeting, it could be the next week. It doesn't have to be the 3rd.
Yeah, I'm
Wednesday,
gone,
it could be,
okay. I might be able to do the 21st. Let's see, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I've got something going on that week, the last part of that week, I'm not sure if it's Wednesday or if it starts on Thursday, and it's kind of like an all-day teaching thing. Possibly June 21st.
all right. Denise, let's go with June 21st. And since I don't have anything later in the day on my schedule, if it's something that you can't make, Annie, I could probably come at 3 and be able to do it the whole shift. If that,
Yeah,
whereas the week, and yeah, the Wednesday before, I wouldn't be able to come at all, so that's,
okay.
and then July 19th for that special farmer's market.
Okay,
Okay.
July 19th. Okay, that looks pretty open.
And then I would just guess that we would have the same, a table, a canopy. I know Christina already has some nice decorations that we've used in the past that say preservation. And then, you know, if our table could have the pins to give out. I know we've talked about a coloring sheet or postcard.
Postcards.
We've
Yeah.
given some suggestions, I think, in past meetings. So if you and she are going to be placing an order, you could just email us that these are some images to do postcards. We could give you a thumbs up via email.
Okay. I think that would be perfect. Yeah, because those have about a 2 to 3 week lead time, so I think we could get those before the June meeting if we get them in the next week. So I'll talk to Christine about those on Monday.
Great.
Well, Bobby was working on a postcard format for the old Texaco station.
Yeah, we had that in our minute for the meeting before, so.
I believe that was corrected. They were editing out some of the, I think there was watermarks or text on it or something that needed to be removed.
Okay.
So I think those are done.
Oh,
So I'll follow up with Christina and we'll send something out next week.
Yeah, and it makes sense to use an image that we own and that we already have and that is meaningful for the city, no matter where you live. So probably commercial business or something like that, yeah.
So for the meeting, you said that Christina usually has the table, signs,
And
we want postcards and the pins to hand out.
yeah, a couple times when we're in the farmer's market, because we did have the Tribe Media videos, she hooked up a TV and a player and I don't know how she did that with
oh, the electricity.
Wireless.
the electricity and stuff like that. I don't know if we want to have those running again.
Absolutely.
But if we want to encourage people to see what we're doing and, you know, examples of the 100-year building decals and the certificates that would go with that, and maybe a list of the buildings with the years that they were built. That's comes from the code comp plan that we've already, so it's already created in the comp plan. It's just, but having a copy of that so if people come by, they can, do I qualify? Well, what's your address? And here's
Yeah, good
the
idea.
year it was built, and then, oh, so yeah, you could have, we'll give the certificate to you right now,
And-
kind of thing, or the decal right now.
Another thing would be to have a copy of the form for nomination to the Millwood Historic
The register.
Register. Because that's been a lot of, it's like, well, it's on the website, you know, well, where is it? Well, it's just easier to have the forms printed out right there, and then people can have them and respond to them, and answer the questions and all the architecture questions and the, you know, folk art or whatever would qualify their home, possibly qualify their home. That's something we can have for them, but we can't do it for them, because then it would come to us to say, you know, we don't want to, it would be a conflict of interest for us to get involved more than just here's the form.
I think that's definitely something we can do. We can get the map and make a big copy of it, laminate it, and then print out copies of the forms for the historic register. Videos, I think she and I had already talked about that as well, having them on a loop and just cycling through all the ones that are completed. So I think that's doable too.
That drew a lot of positive attention. At least I like watching.
And then August 16th is the last meeting that we'll do at the.
Well, let's see how the first two
Yeah,
go,
so the first two
and we
go.
can decide in July if it's something that we want to do, or if we need to meet back inside where we can conduct
Okay.
business more formally. Depends what the work plan looks like. All right, anything else on the market? Bring your own chair. I think that was the one thing that we didn't, the city doesn't provide us chairs, so I have to bring that. All right, so next item would be staff report.
Yes,
You, Denise.
I know, that's me. So as you guys know, Christina's at her conference this week, so she's been out all week. It's the International Institute of Municipal Clerks. Everybody got a pin, which was our design for this year, kind of inspired by one of our meetings. As I said before, the reviewed trail signs are in production. We should have the rest for review at the next meeting, hopefully, if not the meeting after that, for sure. And then the last thing I have is Christina sent me kind of last minute the Shireen video that is completed, if we wanted to watch it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So let me see if I can get this to play.
Can you tell if there's anyone watching remotely our meeting?
There is not.
Okay. Yeah, I'm surprised. I know there was at least 2 people who would want to watch it. But we'll probably watch it later.
Okay, let's see.
Do you want me to get the lights?
Yeah, let me actually, I'll dim that since I'm closest. So let me just make this full page. Not super familiar with this video player, so let's see if we've got sound.
Well, my name is Shireen Young, and owner with my husband Pat of the Salmons House. We moved in 1996. feel like this is it, that's the feeling we had of it. And so we decided we would go ahead and make an offer, and this is in '96. Things went fairly slowly, and we ended up getting the house, and we were trying to move 4 kids into it, and we knew we had to do some changes just to accommodate 4 kids. Well, it is the first house in Millwood. It was built in 1910. It was built on 90 acres, and it was really the only house yet at that time. It was not fancy. It had some built-ins, but it was really a farmhouse. We really needed to get some extra space, just because we have a large family. We have 6 kids, and we needed to have family space. And so we did add on the back side. We actually went out and got some wood milled so that we could have it as the trim, so it built the same. If some people don't know, they just assume this is the way the house has always been. And so we did try and do that and make that so it looked the same. It's wonderful being in the historic district, as I said, just because it's a wonderful neighborhood anyway. And you can walk by, and all the homes are unique. They're not cookie cutter homes. Everybody is friendly, and even people that are moving in just transitory or what have you, still very friendly. Everyone, and it's very walkable in regards to getting to grocery stores or pizza. I mean, we're right close to Trent. So if you had any questions at all, one, it really is on the website. You can look it up for City of Millwood. They have ordinances in regards to what they're encouraging, but it's an encouragement, to have people help retain the flavor and value the asset that it is as being a historic area. But it's not a mandate. There's not anything that says, thou shalt not. And so I don't think people have to be afraid of buying a home in the area or feeling like, well, I can't do this, because yeah, you really can.
Nice.
Very nice.
I could cry.
And they just did that in like a month or so,
They
right?
did a great
They
job.
brought it up.
Yeah.
She's a gem.
So yes, so we have another video that we can add to our
Right, so great.
stream.
Do we know has Shireen seen it yet, or?
I
this-
don't think so. I just got this, and so,
Well, she can watch now, if she watches the.
she can. Well, and I thought about,
Upload the meeting. Oh, it's live streaming.
it
so
is, so it's automatically recording. She
Yeah.
could look at it
Yeah.
and see it. I thought about just emailing it directly
that would
to
be
her,
nice.
but, clear that with Christina. But I guess now that it's been,
Well, it's public. Yeah.
right, now that it's public, it doesn't matter. But yes, so there it is.
So it's on the website, is that what you're saying, or?
Yeah.
I see, okay. I don't understand words like streaming.
Yeah. Not in that sense.
No?
That's really good.
So that's all I have. That's it for the staff report.
Any other questions of other things that are out there commissioners have for Denise?
No remarks.
All right.
No.
Oh, commission remarks. Yeah, are there any remarks on other topics by the commission? Did we at least address some of your
Well,
concerns?
yeah, it was about the signs.
Yeah,
I'm good now.
okay. But that should be a long-term project for us, or not long-term, but a project for us, is to what can we take from the original signs with the content and make sure it's on the website and accessible and
Yeah.
grammatically correct and all of the other good stuff too. And then the next ones that have not gone into production yet, we will make sure that we take a closer look at to make comments before it goes into production. So, awesome. All right, if no other remarks or comments, our next meeting, we can adjust this to be June 21st from 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock. We will have a presence at the Millwood Farmers Market with an official commission meeting around like 5 o'clock. So if we are working different shifts, if we can at least try to be there at 5 o'clock overlap
Right.
to have any business conducted.
Yes.
All right. So hearing no other comments or questions, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
I second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, we adjourn.